Hi everyone. One of the things I'm hearing more and more from teachers is that students are struggling to be able to play along to metronome beats. So why is this? We were all brought up with metronomes clacking away with our scales, with our fugues, Beethoven, all the things that we're learning. This was pretty commonplace in piano studios for, well, since the 1800s really. So why are students struggling with this now? Well, I think one of the main issues is that the clicking of a metronome isn't a common sound for them anymore. This kind of sound, yeah, well, I mean, for anyone, it's pretty annoying anyway. I mean, yes, it does help us play strictly in time when we need to, but it's not a sound that we're all that used to anymore. We don't really hear clocks ticking away, the idea of pendulums and things like that. Kids don't really understand this anymore. And I've also found this in my studio too. To ask a student to play along in time to a metronome can be a struggle. So what do you do? What's the alternative? Well, what I do with my students is, or what I've thought about is, what is a beat that they're used to being able to tap along to? And all students are listening almost 24/7 with headphones to music of some sort. Now, we may not really like the music they're listening to, that's kind of beside the point, but one thing that most of the music that students are listening to these days has is a strong beat. And so what I would recommend doing is playing along with that with your students. And what I mean by that is to find some music that they're listening to, regardless of how awful it is. If it's got a beat, get them to clap along to it. So pop it up on YouTube or on Spotify, wherever it is, get them to play the music that they listen to and clap along to the beat. Can they do that? That is an absolute first step. Now, playing along to other music when you're trying to play something on the piano, of course, won't work, but we can use the same kind of idea by using beats. Now, if you have in your studio a drum of some sort, then I would highly encourage you to use that. I haven't got one with me in here at the moment, but I have had in previous studios, particularly when I've worked in schools. If you've got a drum, a djembe, a tambourine, anything that you can hit to keep a beat, can be great to get started. And of course, you can swap that task with students. So you can have them hit the beat on the drum and keep in time with you, and you can kind of speed up and slow down and see if they can match you. You could do clap and they beat, clap, beat, you know, that kind of thing as well. There's lots of different ways of getting kids to sink in and feel a steady pulse with a drum. If you don't have a drum, then what I recommend you do is grab a free app. It's called Super Metronome Groovebox. So I'm going to type it into my iPad here. Super Metronome Groovebox. It looks like this. There it is there. And the free version gives you about 16 beats before it runs out. And that's enough to at least get started with this. So here's what happens. I've loaded the app. I haven't changed anything at all. I'm just going to hit the big fat play button. Now, if a student is struggling to play along to a clickety-clackety old metronome, try them out with a beat like this. As I say, free app. If you'd like the paid version, it will last for longer and gives you a whole lot of different other options that you can muck around with. Have a look at the link in the description below. That will take you straight through to the App Store and you can grab it. But even the free version will just give you a taste for this and a taste for whether your student in actual fact will respond to this as a better beat keeping device. So while the metronome, you know, I'd still encourage students to use this, and I think it's a good skill that they can play along in time with a metronome, and they'll certainly need it as they progress and get more advanced in their piano studies. But if they're having trouble in that intermediate or even beginner stages, try using a drum, either a physical drum in your studio or a drum on an app like this. That's only one of many apps that you can use. The thing I love about that is, one, it's free. Two, once you click to open it, you just click once and you're off. You don't have to worry about mucking around with settings or anything, which I know can be a pain. Try it out and let me know what you think. And I'd love to hear your comments below this video. Have you had trouble with students unable to play along to a metronome even while it's clicking away? Let me know the story below and what solutions have you found for it. I'd love to find out more. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Just before you go, guys, I want to make sure you're aware of Piano Pivot Live. It's my first ever Piano Teachers Conference, and it's being held 23rd and 24th of January right here in my hometown of Melbourne. Beautiful weather in summer, of course. If you want to find out more about it, head to timtopham.com/conference. It's going to be an incredible experience, and I can't wait to welcome you to Melbourne. See you then.